Hello everyone, how are you all? Students, yesterday we have discussed your economics part 1, that is the introduction to your subject. Yes, today students we are going to discuss the further topics, okay? So students, basically here what we are going to do, we have already discussed, yes, that what is economics is all about, and apart from that what are the other things we have discussed. We have discussed the what are central problems of economy. Yes, so whenever we are talking about what is all about the central problems of economy, so it will be the 4 questions, okay? How to produce, what to produce, how much to produce, and for whom to produce, okay students? So likewise, fine. Then apart from that, what the other things we have discussed about the different types of economies. Yes, in that we have discussed about the developed and developing economy, and apart from that, what the other things we have discussed, it's the mixed economy, okay, the socialist economy, the capitalist economy. Yes, then what are the other things you have studied? I hope you people have remembered, and you can write in your comment box, okay? So let's just recall that all we have already discussed, that how the developed and developing economies we used to segregate on the basis of per capita income, okay? Similarly, now as we are saying about the socialist, capitalist and mixed economy, so here students, it is all about, now the capitalists are those economy, okay, where the production is owned by private individual without any government interference, okay? That means what? The government don't interfere in capitalist economy, and the people are free to earn the profit, okay? Apart from that, in the socialist, here what happened, that the all work were done for the intention of social welfare, okay? It is saying here that the public ownership of property, that is controlled and regulated by the government, okay students? Then about the mixed economy, so basically it is a combination of both the socialist and the capitalist. Yes, here the people are able to do the business and do earn the profit, as well as they will do the welfare process also. So who they? So it is the government, okay? The government are there in the mixed economy for the welfare purpose of the people, as well as here the private enterprises, the private individuals can also earn profit, okay students? So this is the things which we have learned yesterday. Now let's just conclude that all once again, and then today we are going to start the new topic in that first chapter only, that is what is normative economics and what is positive economics, okay students? So let's see this.
A quick recap. Here are the main points covered in this topic. Scarcity occurs when wants are unlimited and resources are limited. The basic problems of an economy are what to produce, how to produce, how much to produce, for whom to produce. The production possibility frontier helps in studying efficient allocation of scarce resources. The solution to basic economic problems differs from one economy to another as the resource availability and economic structures differ. The different types of economies are as follows: developed or developing, open or closed, socialist, capitalist or mixed.
Yes, so this all we have discussed yesterday, okay, that what is the all main points we have discussed. So just let's recall that all. So it is what? Now the scarcity occurs when the wants are unlimited and the resources are limited. I have already told you, yes, that when we will have the unlimited wants but still we are having limited resources, so we have to optimize our needs. Okay, we have to choose such a combination of goods and services that will give us the maximum satisfaction. Okay, likewise, now the next we have just discussed that what are the basic problems of an economy. So that is the what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce, and how much to produce. Okay, then it is saying about, we have discussed about the production possibility frontier, that is the PPF, and it is also called as PPC, that is the production possibility curve. Here what we have discussed, it is saying that it helps in studying efficient allocation of scarce resources. That means what? That whatever the given resources we are having, and we have to purchase the different types of goods, so we will choose such a combination which will show our maximum satisfaction. Okay, apart from that, it is saying the solution to basic economic problems differ from one economy to another as the resources availability and economic structure differs. Of course, all the different countries are having the different economies, so the solution for these problems in the different countries are different according to their planning system. Okay, then it is saying that we are having different types of economies in the world. So in which all categories we can categorize it? So it is a developed or developing, open or closed, socialist, capitalist, or the mixed economy. Okay students, now I hope you people have understood this all things. Students, whatever is written here, now just make a short notes in your notebook. Okay, just note it down this all so that your concepts will be clear. Okay, now students, we are going to switch to the new topic, that is the normative economics and the positive economics. So what it is all about, we are going to discuss that. Okay, let's see that.
Types of economies. Divide yourselves into 3 groups. Pick any one type of economy from the following: capitalist, socialist, or mixed. Choose a country that follows the type of economy selected by you. List the criteria that explain why you think that the country has that economy.
Yes.
Present your criteria and explain how the type of economy affects the development of that country.
So basically it is kind of an activity. Okay, before switching to that, here one activity is there. So you all can think, okay, about the different kinds of economy, and accordingly you can answer it. Okay, the questions are there, so you can answer it accordingly. Okay students.
Introduction to Economics. Basic economic concepts. This topic covers definition of economics, basic concepts and terms in economics. Let us study about some famous economists. Adam Smith, definition of wealth. Adam Smith, 1723 to 1790. Adam Smith is known as the father of economics. He is the author of the famous book, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations. He is one of the first classical economists to define economics systematically. Adam Smith defined economics as the science of wealth. Criticism to definition of wealth are: wealth is given more importance. Narrow scope as it talks only about wealth. Concept of economic man who works only for himself does not exist in reality. Man as a human being is ignored.
Yes students, so noted down this all things. Okay, first of all, we have to learn about who is the father of economics. Okay, so you all should know from now till your life, okay, that the father of economics is called Adam Smith. Okay, Adam Smith, whose life structure was from 1723 to 1790. He has lived for this time period, time era, that is the 1723 to 1790. Okay, so Adam Smith is also known as the father of economics. Okay, why? Because as the new inventions were taking place, okay, so that time what happened, that the new inventions are taking place in the different types of places, we can say. Okay, so that time the economists are giving the different types of theories to the nation. Okay, so likewise this Adam Smith, okay, he has also given a concept by the book that is very famous. It is an inquiry into the nature and causes of wealth of a nation. You all should know the name of this book, okay, because it's kind of a general knowledge, plus it can be asked in the exam for 1 mark question. Okay, so that is what an inquiry into the nature and causes of the wealth of nation. Okay, Adam Smith was one of the first classical economists who has defined economics systematically. See what happened, every individual are having their own opinion. Okay, so they will tell you all the things according to them only. Yes, so likewise what's happening, that many different persons are coming and they were giving the theory according to their opinion and perception, but properly economics were defined by Adam Smith. And what he has defined, so he has defined economics as a science of wealth. Okay, yes students, we used to study all about the wealth strategies. Okay, how the export, import, the selling, purchasing is taking place in the market, in the economy, how the economy is going to run, what is the budget, what is the loss, what is the profit. So this all is nothing but the study of economics. So that is why in terms of Adam Smith's word, he has said that economics is a science of wealth. Okay, then see students, now the next part is criticism. So criticism is what now again? So criticism is like when the other persons who are like observing, so they will find out some loopholes. Okay, so they will give you that all things, the statements according to their view. So that is called as criticism. Okay, alochna, we all are knowing this, as I have discussed this all words many times in your previous class. Yes, so here it is saying that wealth is given more importance, narrow scope, as it talks only about wealth. तो अब क्या हो रहा है, they were saying about that all loopholes. Okay, Adam Smith has given the concept of economics as science of wealth. Now the criticizers who are observing that yes, what Adam Smith is saying, okay, so they were now doing this loopholes and doing the comments. So first comment is what, that the wealth is giving more importance while defining the economics. Okay, apart from that, it is saying that it is a narrow scope, it is only talking about wealth. Okay, and concept of economic man who works only for himself does not exist in reality. So that all things were said by the critics. Okay, now it is saying man as a human being is ignored. So here at a summary we can say that the criticizers are saying that here in this concept of Adam Smith, more and more importance were given to the wealth only and not to the human being. Okay, and it was just the beginning. Now afterwards, in the different time period, the time era, the different economists have came and they have given their own theory of economics. Okay, so let's just begin that, students.
Alfred Marshall is another famous economist who gave the definition of welfare. Alfred Marshall, 1842 to 1924. Dr. Alfred Marshall belonged to the neoclassical era. He wrote the book Principles of Economics in 1890, where he defined economics satisfaction, how a man uses his income for his welfare, society when it studies man as a social being.
Yes, students. So we have talked about the classical economist, that is Adam Smith. Okay. After the time period has got changed, then what happened? That the new time period, the different time period came. So that era is called as neoclassical time period. Okay. So that time again one more important person has contributed in the field of economics. So that is the Alfred Marshall. Okay. He is also having a very main role in economics field. Okay, in the higher classes when you will go, okay, there you will learn the different types of theories given by the Marshall. Okay, so what is the time phase where he has like got born and died? So it was 1842 to 1924. Okay, that is the life cycle of this person, Alfred Marshall. Okay, so he belonged to the neoclassical era. Okay, please note it down, this all students. Now he has also given an important concept in this field with the book only. So he wrote the book Principles of Economics in 1890, where he defined economics as a study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. Okay, so this book name you should learn and remember. And here basically in the book what he has defined, that it is a study of mankind or in the ordinary business of life. And what are the main features of the definition given by the Marshall? So it was earning and spending for satisfaction. So according to Marshall, economics is what it is, the earning and spending for satisfaction. I think it is very much true and you people can relate it, that how we all earn for spend only. Yes, we used to earn for our survival, for our living, and once we are earning, we are spending our money to the different fields for satisfying our needs, like for example fooding, clothing, shelters and the different hobbies. Yes, so likewise the first statement is clear, I guess. Yes, now it is saying how a man uses his income for his welfare. Obviously a man is earning an income, so he has to plan accordingly that how he will spend his income so that his family will be at the state of welfare. Okay. Now the next thing it is saying society where it studies man as a social being. Okay, like he has given the definition in which it is saying that the society were studied where man as being treated as a social being. Okay, so here the concept was a little different of Marshall as compared of the Adam Smith. Okay, now let's see the next clip.
Robbins' criticism of Marshall's definition. The emphasis is on material welfare, while non-material welfare is not accounted for. This narrows down the scope of economics. Welfare is not promoted by all economic activities or goods. For example, production of alcohol. Welfare cannot be quantified as it depends on human satisfaction, which differs from person to person. Welfare is subjective and it varies from person to person, place to place and time to time.
Yes, students. Now, what is the next topic? It is saying about the Robbins criticism of Marshall's definition. So, students, the new name again has got introduced. So, that is the Robbins. Okay. So, Robbins is also one of the economists only, and as we have discussed about that one person give the concept, the others are there who used to criticize. So, Marshall's theory was also got criticized by Robbins. So, here it is saying that the emphasis is on material welfare while non-material welfare is not accounted for. This narrows down the scope of economics. So, according to Robbins now, he Marshall's theory is giving importance to the material welfare and ignoring the non-material welfare. So basically material welfares are what, students? Material welfares are all the goods and services which we purchase to satisfy our needs. Okay, apart from that, whatever the spiritual things, whatever for the grant aids or the charity things, that all things are ignored here. That is what it is said. Okay, now it is saying welfare is not promoted by all economic activities or goods. Example, production of alcohol. Of course, it is saying that all the production of goods are not doing the welfare in the society. Like if we are producing alcohol, so obviously it is injurious to our health. So it is not the production which is going to do the welfare in the society. Yes, if we are producing it, it is simply for earning the profit only. Yes, but it's not with the intention of doing welfare in the society. Yes, now it is saying welfare cannot be quantified as it depends on human satisfaction, which differs from person to person. Yes, it is now saying that the welfare cannot be quantified. Of course, we cannot quantify, we cannot calculate the welfare of all the persons. Okay, because the human satisfaction of all the person will vary. My need is something else of your needs, what you want in your life to, and whatever you want to the things you want to fulfill, your needs will be different to mine. Okay, so that is why the satisfaction level cannot be get measured. Okay, it cannot be measured in numbers. So that is what it is saying here. Okay, the last it is saying welfare is a subjective and it varies from person to person, place to place and time to time. Of course, students, the welfare is different to all persons. Okay, like I am happy with the 3-time meal in a day only, but you people are willing to get the 3-time meals plus toys plus the chocolates, the extra items in your life. So once you will get all that, only then you will get satisfied, and I am like happy with the 3 times meal in my day. So that is why it differs from the different time, okay, to person, okay, to different places. Okay, so likewise it is saying, I hope you have got the criticism done by Robbins. Let's see the next thing now.
Lionel Robbins was an economist who gave the definition of scarcity. Lionel Robbins, in his book Nature and Significance of Economic Science, 1932, defined economics as a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between the ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. Main features of the definition. Human wants are referred to as ends here, which are unlimited. Means to satisfy these wants are limited. As a result, all wants cannot be satisfied. Therefore, a choice has to be made. Available resources are also capable of having alternative uses.
Yes, students. So as we have talked about Robbins, so now Robbins have also given a concept about the scarcity. Okay, scarcity we have discussed about the definition of economics only, that economics is what? That the scarcity of resources are there, and in that how we are going to satisfy our need while prioritizing our combination of certain items which will satisfy our needs. Okay, so here now it is saying that Lionel Robbins in his book Nature and Significance of Economic Science that he has written in 1932 defined economics as, now how he has defined economics. Okay, so he has defined as a science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. So here Robbins again is giving the concept of economics while relating to the study of human now understand that, for example, tea and coffee are substitutes or not. Substitute means what? Alternative. That people, maximum people, few are there who don't drink coffee or like tea, like me, okay, I don't drink tea. So likewise, okay, so what happened that for the maximum people it is okay for them if they are going to, for tea or coffee, they will drink both. So let's just, I'm going to give you example that in a shop, okay, you went there and there you have found that tea price is 15 rupees per cup and coffee price is 10 rupees per cup. Then what will happen? That I will find that, oh, I drink both the things, okay, so why I will spend more, okay, so I can go for coffee while spending only 10 rupees and I will save 5 rupees. So that is what it is, the human behavior, my behavior for the resources, okay, the alternative resources, okay, to choose in such a manner that I will, keep my resources also with me and do the maximum satisfaction to me. Likewise, okay. Now it is saying that what are the main features of this definition given by Robbins? So it is, human wants are referred to as ends here which are unlimited. Of course, student, we all know that the human wants are unlimited. Yes. Now it is saying that the means to satisfy this wants are limited. Of course, we are having the limited resources to satisfy our unlimited wants. Okay. Then it is saying, as a result, all wants cannot be satisfied. Therefore, a choice has to be made. Yes. So likewise, only students, I have already told you, like whatever the money we are having, so we have to choose such a combination. Like I am having 500 rupees and I have gone to a grocery shop. There I have I need to buy some rice, some pulses, some flour and maybe some cookies. Okay, but there I have seen chocolates, pastry, this and that. Okay, but I have to focus to my priority, to my needs, and accordingly only I will purchase that all goods which will give me the maximum satisfaction. Okay, the last one it is saying that it is available resources are also capable of having the alternative uses. As I have given you, okay, the alternative uses are what, students? The substitute products, okay, जो एक की जगह दूसरे को इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. Fine, so that is the substitutes or alternative products. Fine, students. So likewise, Robinson has also given the definition of economics for today's class. This much only, students. Okay, I hope you have learned the different economist theories, or we can say that the different economists has given the different concepts of economics. What all we have learned? We have learned about the classical economist, that is Adam Smith, then the neoclassical economist, that is Alfred Marshall, then we have learned about the Robbins. Okay, so and the criticism part also you need to remember, okay, that how they have criticized their theories, okay, the rivals. Okay, so likewise, so I hope you have got this all concept, students. So for today's session, this much only. Thank you very much.